Take a deeper breath and give it time. You can walk the path among the lines, but always know that you'll be safe. I'll be here throughout your days. Come find me and we will play.
Okay, it looks like we did get a little bit of a client reset, and now we are finally back into our South 6 matchup between North Georgia and Clemson. North Georgia 0-2 on the season so far, and that doesn't give them a lot of time to go ahead and start to make up ground. Clemson 1-1 in a very difficult group here with Georgia Tech and UVA. UVA on top, I believe, at 3-0. And that means Clemson at 1-1 needs to go ahead and make up some ground and pick up this win against North Georgia. If North Georgia has any hope to move on past this bracket, past this group stage into the bracket stages, they've got to get a win here against Clemson.
Yeah, absolutely. Quite a lot of pressure on both of these teams here. And to add a little bit more spice to this matchup, University of North Georgia went down 0-2 to, oh man, I am completely blanking on the team. But the relevant stat is Clemson went and played that team last week and 2-0'd that team. So there is, the scores already are kind of worrying for UGA, at this University of North Georgia at this point, but Clemson just brings a little bit of extra firepower there by 2-0ing a team that North Georgia has dropped to in the past. So have to see how this series works out, though. Very different matchups here. All the bans have already come through. Maokai versus Aurelia showing in the top lane with an Olaf locked in for the jungle of Clemson. This is going to be an interesting match.
Yeah, with that, a lot of jungle bans kind of left open. The Olaf slipping through early on, Vi being taken away, but the Rengar is up. It doesn't look like they want to go that way, though. So instead, it does look like North Georgia will be picking a Zach and a Caitlyn. So finally, we have a excuse me, we have a champion pick out of order. We've seen a lot of this in CSL. Oh, I'm sorry. Seen a lot of this season in CSL where teams are just picking for their own lane. So if it's your pick, you're just picking your champion rather than getting a high priority champion. And now we're starting to see that there with GT5 picking Caitlyn for no counterplay. No counterplay has a highly, highly impressive win percentage on that Caitlyn. I do believe it is somewhere, it's 70% win percentage so far this season in solo queue for no counterplay. So getting that Caitlyn bodes well for you. UNG, but let's look on the other side, a Lulu and an Ashe being picked up.
Yeah, and I mean, the Lulu is something that Isolated has played a bit in solo queue. Only one game, but it is a 100% win rate so far, so that's a pretty good start. But she did get buffed this patch again, and she got buffed in a way that she hasn't been buffed in the very recently. Some of the things that I thought would push Lulu into the pool was the utility buff on her W, or I thought that on its own would be great, or some of the buffs that she got a few months ago. Apparently not, but this one seems to be finally bringing her into the pockets of at least some players, and I think with the Ashe, it's a really good pair. Now, if you don't know, she gives attack speed in addition to movement speed whenever she uses her W on an ally, so there's quite a lot of power there, and that seems to be a similar style to what Isolated likes to play if we look at his champion pool as a whole.
Absolutely. And real quick, you see, oh my gosh, we blew through the champ select real quick. We have a Vel'Koz and Karma rounding it out here for the Nighthawks of North Georgia. And on the opposite side for the Tigers of Clemson is Katarina being picked there in the mid lane. Vel'Koz being taken away, I think, was a smart pick here because Vel'Koz's win percentage in the hands of GT5, another high win percentage champion, 67% is most played this season in solo queue. And if you look on the side of North Georgia, it's not maybe the most meta team composition, but you get a lot of poke from those bottom three champions from the mid lane, from the AD carry role, and from the support with a way to engage or disengage with Maokai and Zach on the Nighthawks. And the best part about that team comp is all of these guys are super comfortable on these champions. High win percentages across the board, seasons upon seasons of playing these champions. So the Nighthawks, I think, got a very nice draft here.
Yeah, honestly, as a whole, this composition really does look great for them. The Zach is is something in I'm Regret's champ pool as well. So like you said, just to emphasize that point, push it a little bit further even, extend it to one more member. That comfort picks across the board for North Georgia. This is the situation. This is the type of comp that you can really take a lead with. And this is a composition that you can really win a game with. It's just a matter of them getting there. And honestly, that is the type of hope that they need going through being down 0-2 already. 2 clean 0-2 matches from their opponents in the past in this group so far. So they need really whatever it feels like they can get at this point if they want to be able to have a chance at clawing their way back in this group and maybe taking this series away from Clemson.
Absolutely. And you look on the other side of Clemson, they've got Aurelia, Olaf, Katarina, Ash, and Lulu. You get a lot of dive from those top 2 champions right there in Olaf and Aurelia. And I think it's one of those things where Clemson is hoping that the target selection that North Georgia chooses is incorrect, right? You pick the wrong target, you're not peeling correctly, and the next thing you know, you're getting Ash arrowed in the face. You've got Katarina going in. If anyone tries to get close and stop her, she gets ulted by Lulu, no interrupts, and Katarina's popping off. It really seems like they're trying to play around this Katarina here in the mid lane.
I love the complement of dive from the Olaf, Aurelia, and Katarina to go along with this Ash. Plus, of course, like you just said before, about the Lulu, she can be used for Pito for sure, but I think that she might be used more aggressively here, especially if Clemson can get a lead, because they have a comp where they can call the shots. They can pick off any one of these members pretty quickly, having 2 sources of true damage and a lot of pretty consistent burst and DPS, respectively, from Kat and Ash in those carry roles as well. So this is a lot of firepower packed into Clemson's comp, but they are lacking, to some extent, a really, really big true tank, quote unquote. They don't have a champion like that Nautilus or anything like we've been seeing in professional play quite a lot, as opposed to this Zac and Maokai on the opposite side. So they have a lot of health to get through.
Absolutely. And I think at the end of the day, it's going to have to come down to Mike in the top lane, ADC Mike in the top lane. He's going to have to go ahead and do his part, carry his role there, picking that Aurelia. It's a risky pick, but we'll get to see if it pays off here with about 15 seconds left. Let's go ahead, go over our sponsors. Thank you so much to our sponsors by making College Star League possible. We have Band Gaming, the social app and the primary social app of College Star League, with boards, calendar functions, polls, chat groups, and recent call functionality. It's the premier social experience for you and your fellow gamers alike, thanks to Band Gaming. Of course, twitch.tv for streaming, the only place for the largest streaming platform in gaming. And of course, Asus. Big shout out to Asus for giving us monitors, laptops, routers, graphics cards, motherboards, and more. Don't enter the battle next time unless you're equipped with Asus. So while we get into Champions Select, or while we load into the game, we're going to take a short break. But when we come back, we'll have game 1 between North Georgia Nighthawks against the Clemson Tigers. We'll be right back. All right, Summoners, welcome back to the Rift. We've got a matchup for you, University of North Georgia against the Clemson Tigers. Yes, those Clemson Tigers that won the national championship in football. They also get on the Rift here, 1-1 on the season against the 0-2 Tigers. And I really liked the champion select. It went really quickly. Both teams knew what they wanted. They knew their identity. And because of that, we flew through Champion Select, and here we are.
Yeah, and like I was saying in Champ Select, I really like the composition that Clemson has put together, because normally you end up seeing the Ash paired with a lot of other really hard engage, and that is a concern for Clemson as well. I don't want to just brush past that. Without other engage on this composition really existing for Clemson, that means that Vici really has to deliver on these arrows in particular this game. If he falls incredibly far behind or something, then that's going to be really bad for Clemson, because there are two tools on the opposite side of North Georgia, namely the Maokai and Zach, for engage for them. If they want to call a fight, then they have two different ways to do it. They can get a TP flank, they can have a huge elastic slingshot. There's a lot of flexibility with their engage. So if Clemson does not get rolling and Vici does not have a very good game, then that's a point for concern. But if they get rolling, if the arrows land, they have so much dive to just blow up whoever they really want to. They might even be able to blow through these tanks, depending on how some of these carries go. There's a lot to look out for in this game for sure.
Absolutely. I think looking out for in the top lane, it's waiting to see how well Aurelia can farm without being harassed there. Aurelia really scales once she gets a Trinity Force, I guess the Sheen and the Phage, but the Trinity Force completed. Maokai's going to have a difficult time staying in that lane. Hitting style, giving true damage to Aurelia. That's going to be something to keep an eye on. So the jungle pass of Regrets and Think You Can Dance, it's going to be one of the things to watch out for here, as we see a little bit of trading here on the bottom side of the map. Vici and Isolated doing a decent job there against Counterflay and Captain Hook. Caitlyn should be winning this matchup hands down, but Isolated has the shield in Lulu's kit that can mitigate a lot of that poke.
Yeah.
So watching out for that counterplay would be something to look out for.
Yeah, I mean, Lulu is a poke-oriented support to some extent. I mean, she brings a lot of utility to the table, so maybe it's not quite as much as, say, a Karma that we are seeing on the side of North Georgia. But Isolated is right now just taking much more advantage of the wave pressure, the favorable wave pressure that Clemson has in this lane. And so these trades are going much better for them on their side. And both of these teams are trading a lot down here because they know the junglers won't be showing up anytime soon. But speaking of junglers showing up top lane.
Here comes Regrets. Regrets going into Mike, and this is what we're talking about earlier. Can Mike withstand that damage? And interesting little tidbit there. Regrets just gets there maybe a second, 2 seconds before Think You Can Dance does, and that forces Mike back under the tower. And, a little bit of pressure. But if we actually take a look at the CS lead right there, it's 23-13 in the top lane. So maybe ADC Mike in the top lane might not have too many issues. As we see Vici and Knight and GT5 so low. Vici is forward. Everyone saw it, Vici. First blood heading on over to GT5. There's no covering that one up.
Oh no. Oh, wow. That did not go well for Vici. Did not have the range on the Shunpo. It felt like that's what he was looking for there. A very interesting flash, to say the least. Kill goes over to GT5 suddenly. That lane can flip completely on its head. The CS lead completely negated. This needs... that can't happen again for Vici in this mid lane. And apologies for the confusion. I did not even realize that there was a Vici and an ADC Vici on the side of Clemson until we just flew mid lane before. We're gonna have to try to keep that as concise as possible. Anyway,
absolutely. We'll just go with the ADC, because if I was ADC Vici, I wouldn't want to be confused with Vici right now after looking kind of silly after that last play. Twitch chat, show me your dongers for Vici's play there. Not the best thing on the Katarina. It was very, very close, but I'm not exactly sure what he was looking for. Maybe an auto attack, but the flash lane wasn't anywhere near an auto attack. So GT5 looking nice in the mid lane with his high win percentage on Vel'Koz and both of his summoners.
Yeah, I think he may have been thinking, okay, I can take two turret shots here. So if I flash in, instant Shunpo for the kill, and then you can just Shunpo right back out because you get the full reset. What he didn't calculate for there ultimately was the Ignite ticked one more time when he flashed in, so he pulled aggro immediately. Just went straight down, but here's the Zac down bottom.
Oh, here comes Regrets. Yep, Zac misses his slingshot, so not going to get too much, but Isolated, forced to back up. Regrets very low. Will he be able to get away? The auto attack not going to be able to come out of ADC Vici, and again, both Vici's having trouble gauging their range.
And meanwhile, up top,
Up top, Mike now, the only ADC looking nice right now. Dantzler forced to flash away, and look at this. Mike going a little bit of BM, maybe a disconnect. Either way, he's going to pick up the kill, and a little bit of saving grace here for the Tigers.
Good start for them up in that top lane. I mean, now building on that CS lead even further. Mike is already incredibly far ahead in that lane, and now pushing it even further. 800 gold in his favor right now over that Maokai. This is going to be really big for him. With that Phage now picked up with a controller and even a potion as well. He has a lot going for him at this moment. And we see Dantzler seemingly just waiting for a little bit more money. Yeah, there he goes. He gets the Bomby Cinder. So just a little bit of a few gold short there when he did end up respawning. That's going to help him with the lane pushing, but this Aurelia still has so much damage to spare by having that Phage already. Not to mention the experience lead, and well, now that she has the pressure lead in that lane as well, the sort of invisible lead that you don't really see, she can start to roam, start to pressure this jungler. And we're seeing her do that here, looking to possibly go mid.
Yep, maybe mid, not exactly sure, but Vici getting aggressive. Nice exhaust coming out of GT5 to slow down the aggression from Vici. Regrets going in with the slingshot, not going to land. Vici taking a couple of shots there in the mid lane, but like what you said, the invisible gold lead,
Mike.
I think, is just understated. And here comes Mike. Dashes in, picks up the kill. GT5, lazy recalls, lose games, and it proves true once again. And now Captain Hook getting caught out in the Nighthawks in a little bit of a train wreck that is. And here goes Think You Can Dance, train rolling right on over the support player, Captain Hook. And the Tigers, after kind of a poor start, coming back strong.
Ash Arrow available. This could be a dive.
Nice play by no counterplay. He saw it coming.
Really good reactive
back
flash.
at it.
Regrets coming down bottom. The wave is gone. They cannot push this tower right this exact moment. Wouldn't be surprised if Think You Can Dance would want to back. They just want to take this lead and maybe try to get a dragon off of it. They have the vision for it. There's a bit of lacking vision for North Georgia right now. I don't think they'll be that crazy, though. Isolated. They were
Isolated. Trying to clear out the pink ward. And how many times have we seen this in professional play in solo queue, dying over a ward? And that's exactly what's going to happen here. Regrets going in. Think You Can Dance getting exhausted. Karma putting out a lot of damage. I don't think You Can Dance knew that's what was coming. Captain Hook now going to look to line up the inner flame, and it looks like Think You Can Dance will be going down. The heal going down. Think You Can Dance turning around the damage. Zach gets taken down. Here comes the disintegration ray. GT5 picking up a kill. So does no counterplay. And Zach comes back together in one piece.
Yeah, what a great roam from GT5. Beating out the Katarina on a roam is not something that you see every day. Most Katarinas will be keen to be watching that map as much as possible, and Vel'Koz, definitely the last champion you'd expect to catch her off there. Down in CS is GT5, but those two kills completely, or that one kill rather, makes up for it in spades, and if he can continue doing that, this lane will basically mean nothing. Now this turret being pressured for North Georgia. They're looking to take it down. It looks like they're going to get it. Yeah, they will. So first brick over to them. That's a lot of money across just these three members alone, not even counting the global gold that they get. And this is fantastic for North Georgia all of a sudden. What a great turn.
Absolutely. So solid stuff there by Georgia. And an exciting start here to our South 6 matchup between these two schools. Surprising that it was such a tough start there for Clemson I guess it's not mechanical play, but yeah, maybe mechanical play, but not their farming, right? Their farming has been their saving grace right now. That's why we look up at the scoreboard and the gold lead, and it's absolutely bang smack right in the middle. And solid stuff for them so far, but where do we go from here? When's the next big team fight going to happen? Even though they took the first tower to North Georgia, they didn't transition that into anything quite yet. What do you think the next objective is going to be?
Well, if this bottom lane, if these lanes weren't in such dire straits for North Georgia, then off of that map control, hold that thought.
Yep, Vici going in. Death Blossom gonna get interrupted. Teleport coming in by Maokai. No counterplay, in a little bit of trouble. Doesn't have flash because the last time he flashed away from the Enchanted Crystal Arrow, but here comes Dancer and I'm Regrets. Nice two-man knockup. There's the ult from Lulu. Fail flash coming out of ADC Vici, and then again by I Am. A little bit less pie in the face of Regrets because he picked himself up a kill. But a 1-for-1 in the bottom side of the map. And Vici now getting aggressive, and again gets caught out. The exhaust going down, disintegration ray, not gonna be enough, but here comes Regrets. There's the punch in the face, Vici still alive, down he goes, the burn is enough. And again, Vici miscalculating his range and pays for it.
I don't know why he didn't fully commit to that. He could have had it. He picked up the dagger, which resets Shunpo cooldown. It was way over aggressive for him to flash in for the dagger in the first place, but when you're going to commit that much, commit the ignite to that as well, I feel like he should have just gone for it. Just go absolutely all in. If you don't get out, at least it's a 1-for-1. Instead, it's a 1-for-none. The turret is traded by Clemson up top, but North Georgia gets the dragon down bottom, and this Ocean Drake is incredibly effective at this part of the game, at this phase. You end up being in lane, you end up being on the map for so long at this point, rather, that Ocean Drake can really just extend that for so long. This is great for North Georgia if they want to pick up sieges, which just so happens to be something that this comp really excels at with the Caitlyn Vel'Koz.
Absolutely. I think if you're Vici in the mid lane, you do exactly what you said. You trade your life for that kill. Go 1-for-1. Because as much as GT5 scales, you scale even harder as the game goes on. But here goes Dancer in a little bit of trouble. Tower shot, not going to be enough. Huge inspiration coming out of Captain Hook, keeping Dancer alive. And Dancer in the mid lane will be able to get himself back and away. But just something to look out for is that huge CS discrepancy. We're going to see a Flame Horizon before we even get to 20 minutes here in this game. A whole 100 CS in a little bit. Right now we're at almost 80 CS up by ADC Mike in the top lane on the Aurelia.
Yeah, and man, whoa, okay, that's a lot of
warning shot.
A lot of spells. Yeah. No, but I feel really bad for Vici this game so far. I can relate to. I'm pretty sure just about everyone can relate to just one of those games where it feels like no matter how hard you try, how close you get someone to death, it's just not going to work out. He's 0-2-0 right now. He's had like 3 kills potentially on the table. Oh no, ADC Mike.
No, counterplay getting away. ADC Mike getting aggressive, so Mike going to be forced to back off. Feels like there's going to be a team rotation. He is isolated and will be able to get himself away. But back to your point, are you trying to say that you tried so hard, but in the end it
didn't even matter? Yeah, exactly. I mean, I was trying to avoid phrasing it like that, but yes.
Too late.
In the end, it didn't even matter how hard I tried to avoid that meme because it came through anyway.
Oh, but it absolutely did.
Oh, ADC Vici.
Absolutely did. Oh, ADC Vici getting caught out, and ADC stepping on a trap will be able to get away. Huge play from Lulu, and this is the reset Vici wanted. ADC Vici and Vici getting together, going big. Who are they going to give the kill on over to? It's going to be... Regrets might be able to get away. No, it's Vici picking that one up. Again, a little bit of BM coming out of the Tigers, but solid play. Huge play coming out of Lulu. The wild growth coming in at the very last second to keep the 80 carry alive.
Yeah, what a great group from Clemson there, and they get their second turret of the match now, leading North Georgia. All of a sudden, 3k gold in the bank for them, and they're looking to take a little bit more, getting some chip damage onto this turret. Heck, make it a chunk to get it to near half, but Dancer has something to say.
Yeah, he does, but also so does Cap and Hook. Vici going back in will be able to Shumpo out, but from a chip to a chunk, and that's exactly what happened in that mid lane. And again, I think this all comes back to ADC Mike being so big in that top lane on the Aurelia, forcing a huge rotation out of North Georgia to the bottom side of the map. They weren't ready to counteract the Katarina popping off, and that's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
And now, although they're up in kills, North Georgia find themselves in a solid gold deficit less than 20 minutes in this match.
Yeah, really all you have to do as a split pusher is just look as tasty as possible when you're in organized play like this, because a team will either, they'll just send one person to try to deal with you, and you just have to be as slippery as you can if they send multiple, especially because your team can very easily just pick something up elsewhere. But hey, if you get turrets for it, like ADC Mike just did too, then that is fantastic. So much vision control here for Clemson. This could be a big flank onto North Georgia. They have no clue.
Absolutely. Here comes the Aurelia. No one knows. There's GT5. That's a priority target, and down he goes. ADC Mike takes him down immediately. Regrets. Nice flash over the wall. Be able to get home safely. But again, that was the flank without teleport usage, and I think North Georgia's sort of out of their wits right now.
Oh man, Regrets might be regretting this here.
Absolutely. Vici will be able to walk out because 2 ultimates were burned there. The Let's Bounce and the Vengeful Maelstrom being burned by Maokai. That's going to give another siege opportunity. Katarina going in, almost picking that one up there on Zach. Regrets. Forced to slingshot away. Counterplay. Look at that. Hits ADC Mike and really doesn't do too much damage.
Yeah, it's going to take this Caitlyn a little while to really get through a lot of his health in the Aurelia. She doesn't even have much health in her items or any resistances at this point. So this is just pure, really just base stats and runes and masteries coming through. Oh, Vici.
There's the Ashen, a little bit of a pop-up, flash away, disintegration way, outplayed! Solid stuff by Vici there. Shunpo behind the Vel'Koz, and nothing that GT5 could do in that one except go down, back in the base, do not pass go, 25 seconds, wait your turn.
If Clemson can keep finding picks like this, I mean, honestly, I touched on the fact that this comp is somewhat pick-oriented, with that Ashe really enabling them majorly. Lulu enables the Olaf and Aurelia to follow up after, or the Cat, that's even an option as well. Clemson can also get picks by just pulling North Georgia apart, pulling their different members across the map, and that's really what they're doing here with ADC Mike split pushing in a side lane. They pull 2-3 members down, get some picks mid. Suddenly they have 2 turrets down there. Now they get their first dragon of the game at only 18 minutes in, and this is looking increasingly good for Clemson with already an 8,000 gold lead in the, or 6,000 rather, in the bank for them at about pre-20 minutes. This is looking fantastic for them. 4-1 in turrets. Everything's going right for them right now, and North Georgia just falling in to every opportunity that Clemson is trying to find.
Oh, here is an opportunity, though. Vici is by himself. Teleport coming in right now from ADC. Mike on the Aurelia. Will take it through, steps on a trap, but doesn't matter. Dashes forward anyways. Will get knocked up, but I'm not sure where the damage is going to come from. Vici gets absolutely stopped early, and Caitlyn picks up a kill. Disintegration Ray doing a nice little bit of damage. Dancer in the front line. And there it is. I think this is a little bit of hubris coming out of Clemson. They're getting very aggressive. Vici going in before even his pseudo frontline, and Olaf getting in there. Ragnarok was not even used. So Katarina gets blown up immediately, and North Georgia finds a team fight win.
Yeah, I think Clemson needs to play this very carefully in spite of their gold lead. Again, to go back to that pick comp, well, they really can't take straight up team fights either. They need those types of picks. They need to separate North Georgia and pick them apart from the inside, because this dual tank lineup with much more diverse engage, like I've talked about a little bit earlier, is just going to be able to keep this Katarina and Ashe pretty well contained, and the Aurelia is going to be hard-pressed to get in when all of the kite is grouped up together. They need to have a split pusher. They need to find a carry all alone with that Ashe arrow. Those are really the win opportunities, the good opportunities for Clemson to be taking in this game if they want to find the victory here. So 4,000 gold, and now they're starting this Baron, but they haven't swept the pit properly. Okay, there's the clear. They realize the risk that they're taking, but Isolated.
Isolated gets very low, forced to flash away. Will save Wild Growth, but does lose that Summoner's spell. But again, just quick to point out, because it finally did happen. It actually happened a couple times, then lost and came back. I'm not sure if you like Vertical Frost, but right now I've got for you a Flame Horizon in the top lane. ADC
man.
Mike all over Dancer in that top lane. in a matchup that could go either way, but Mike just knowing his champion a little better, and I think you could say that about all of the Clemson players right now. They know their champions a little bit better, and gold leads across the map, except in the bottom lane where ADC Vici not having as much luck, but really he's there to be the stun bot.
Yeah, and this absolutely seems like something that Mike is really comfortable on. And once this Aurelia got rolling, got that solo kill onto the Maokai, there's very little hope for this Maokai for at least 10-15 more minutes until he gets a second or maybe even third armor or health item. He's going to have a really rough time against this Aurelia. Now all of a sudden North Georgia committing quite a few people up to the top lane, but it won't result in much as ADC Mike is in a pretty safe position. We see him diving in for crazy attempted engages like that, it seems like, but he just pulls back immediately.
Absolutely, and looking on the bottom side of the map, you can see both ADC Vici and Think You Can Dance on the bottom there. Right now, it is a 2v2, but here comes Katarina in a little bit, but ADC Vici is not going to make it. Down he goes. 1-3-3 is ADC Vici, but here comes original Vici on Katarina, thinking about going in. Vengeful Maelstrom does go down on the opposite side of the map. Counterplay, able to get a trap and flash away. So it is just a 1-for-1 teleport burned on the side of Danzler. And ADC Mike going in. Vici getting exhausted. Think You Can Dance trying to help out his buddy. Does not have Ragnarok anymore. Short hops the axe throw. Will not be enough, but here comes Vici. Enough time has been bought for him so that he can pop off. Regrets going in, picking up a kill on Olaf, trying to get himself out. Captain Hook 2 also very low. There's the double kill from the Bouncing Blade. One more will be enough, and it's going to lead to the Cell division for Zach. Probably will be okay in the grand scheme of things. Vici trying to get the damage down, accidentally takes a shot, flashes away from the slingshot. Nice little outplay there, picks up the dagger very low. Vici picks up the kill. Regrets goes down, feeling all sorts of regret. And on the opposite side of the map, Clemson all over the place will pick up the tower as well.
What a fight from Vici, pulling it out in the end. No counterplay now, getting dove up top though.
Counterplay trying to work his way out of there. Will be a matter of time, or will it? Here comes Danzler to help out his buddy. Integration, the Ray coming out will not be enough, and Mike barely getting away. Wild Growth plus the help pick's going to be enough to get himself to safety.
The Lulu peel just a bit too strong. A huge slow coming out from that Glitter Lance. Somehow gets ADC Mike out alive, but oh man, overall Clemson, they just got a very large influx of gold. Getting that top tier 2 is very important for them. That'll pull North Georgia away from this dragon. That'll still be a pretty regular focus for the next 12 or so minutes in this game before the Elder Drake spawns. It's pretty easy to commit resources and look forward to that Elder Drake. Man, it's going to be difficult with ADC Mike potentially split pushing top. He still has TP, but he won't be using it. Clemson, they're just going to group up as one unit. Or not quite, actually. Their jungler is up top instead. Interesting decision, I would say. Think You Can Dance definitely needs to be moving down here soon with Dragon up in 5 seconds. If North Georgia gets in, they can just go for this.
They could go for it right now, and it does look like they're going to use this lower priority Cloud Drake to put pressure across the map. You see a lot of pings coming down right now. Blue pings. Regrets going in on an ADC Mike, but the rest of his team is not there. Will they get there first? Yes, but they're not there. And you can see the whole rest of the Clemson Tigers pinging onto Baron, and this is just superior play coming out of the Tigers, the National Football Championship champions. They're also making great plays on the Rift as well as we pin on over to the Baron. This is going to be free, uncontested, and just like a puppet master, absolutely maneuvered by the Tigers.
I love this play by the Tigers. I was thinking in the back of my mind that this was a possibility.
Ooh.
Gonna have to hold that thought though.
Yep, Regrets got very close. Let's Bounce will hit 2 people. Think You Can Dance is forced to pop the Ragnarok because he was low from the Baron damage. ADC Mike on the front line. That's exactly where you want him. And, you know, if you're Nighthawks, this is the time to go. This is the go time. They just took a ton of Baron damage. This is your only chance to get in there right now with the team fight that you want. And instead, they kind of hesitated, backed off. They give Clemson more than enough time to get away scot-free. And again, just Baron heading on over, and the consolation prize is the Cloud Drake. if I'm Georgia, if I'm North Georgia, that's just not worth it.
Yeah, no, not at all. And I love the call from Clemson. I was thinking in the back of my mind as I saw North Georgia running down bottom. Okay, Clemson, they're positioned properly to go for this if they make the call. You have to make that type of call, though, and it was so close. Regrets was right there at the last second. It was incredibly close in spite of their very quick shot calling. It was so risky for Clemson to go for that because that could have easily swung the game. They could have gotten wiped. They could have lost the Baron. Both of those things could have happened simultaneously. But they made the call, they made the play, and ADC Mike even makes it out cleanly. North Georgia realized their mistake, but just a little bit too late. You don't see calls like that every day. That is absolute confidence in whoever the shot caller is on Clemson from the whole squad. And now they're going to take this Baron buff, get a bottom tier 2 for it, and they're looking for more.
Absolutely. And real quick, back to that Baron play, shout-outs to Isolated with that perfect polymorph. We got to see Apramu use that in their game against Cloud9. Again, that polymorph at the very last second against Regrets, preventing him from getting the smite down, a 50-50 smite. He did get in there, but Isolated doing a quick whimsy right at the right second. That gives them the Baron, and definitely I don't think they would have been too hurt if they didn't get Baron, but this does accelerate the game greatly to the side of the Clemson Tigers.
Yeah, Regrets in the wrong neighborhood here. If they North Georgia cannot afford to botch engages like that, because if they lose one of their tanks here, then they lose a lot of the punch of their composition. They lose a lot of the protection for these two decently immobile carries. Here's Regrets into the backline again.
Yep, Regrets onto the backline, getting onto Vici, but he's got to remember, that's not the guy you want to stop. You want to stop ADC Mike, and there he is, ADC Mike getting disintegrated, and GT5 picking up that kill. It looks like for his seconds that I Am Regrets was in the red light district, but he definitely found the right neighborhood with that slingshot, working himself back in, and now going in again, Isolated in a little bit of trouble. We know he doesn't have wild growth, so he's in a little bit of trouble. Looking back on the top side of the map, it does look like the siege will be repelled a little bit. Vici, ADC Vici, doing a solid job helping out his support teammate, and yet again, here comes another engage, and there it is, finally does go down. Now ADC Vici left all alone, gonna try to kite his way out of there, doing his best Uzi impression, and might be able to pick this one up. Will not be able to. It's a double kill heading on over to Regrets. On the top side of the map, though, it does look like the rest of the Clemson Tigers are doing exactly what they wanted. Vici popping off. 1, 2, 3 kills heading on over to Katarina. A triple kill for the Clemson Tigers, along with the top inhibitor.
Vici looking for a penta. Not quite going to commit to it, though. These kills just coming out of nowhere. He's just blowing up these members of North Georgia. Oh, man. He wants it. He wants it real bad. Not going to commit to it, though. Clemson, they get the top inhib, and they're looking for the mid inhib now as well. Vici with the big play.
Yeah, Regrets, you've got nowhere to go, but he does have cell division, so he'll be okay. And there's Captain Hook. Captain Hook does a decent amount of damage. He does have a completed Zonias plus Sorcerer Shoes.
Oh, man.
And will it be enough? No, it won't! The Shunpo keeps him alive! Regrets trying to go in, looking dumb, goes down. Disintegration Ray will pick up Think You Can Dance. And now a little bit more aggression coming back in. GT5 forced to pay for that one tenfold. Danzler not going to be able to land the smash. And so Vici making plays, definitely the star of this match, and maybe he's not done yet. There goes counterplay. Legendary goes Vici. His name will be remembered in this matchup. It's an ace going for the side of the Clemson Tigers. 21-14, 2 inhibitors, and now probably the rest of the game.
Wow. What an ending from Vici. Popping off, carrying his team to victory. Clemson coming through in the end. 15,000 golden lead, only 30 minutes on the clock. Vici making it happen there, 13-3-4. The big weakness, I would say, of North Georgia that resulted in Vici being able to go off like that was only one CC existing between all 3 of the squishy members on their team to be able to stop this Katarina. There's no way to contain her otherwise. She doesn't care about snares all that much, aside from when she's trying to be mobile, but it won't stop her ult. It won't stop her burst. There was just nothing that North Georgia could really do without those two tanked, and they were preoccupied on the other side of the map. Clemson split themselves up, and the carries made themselves look juicy elsewhere. That's exactly the type of strategy that I said they needed to try to pull off a little bit earlier. Beautiful play from them.
Absolutely. And if you're the side of University of North Georgia right now, the Nighthawks, right now it's daytime and their Hawks aren't doing anything. And that's very, very difficult. You get your comfort picks, you get your champions, the team comp that you want to play. We can, as a viewer from the outside looking in, you see how they want to play it. But instead, they kind of get just kind of monstered, mainly because of the skill discrepancy. The CS leads were enormous. ADC Mike not only like getting 100 CS, but at the time doubling the CS of Gansley. That skill discrepancy was too big. Vici in a ranged versus non-ranged matchup continually was winning those trades, dodging the skill shots out of GT5. GT5 not able to land his plasma fission or his tectonic disruption. And because of that, Vici was able to just freely walk in CS, and he had himself a huge lead, even though we got to see a couple of massive blunders in the mid lane. The gold lead was just so big that it was equal, and it was just a matter of time for Vici to pop off. Solid stuff there by Vici to go ahead and bring it back. And ADC Mike, I think the big thing that the Nighthawks needed to happen, and it was close, but when you're playing this kind of team comp, it needs to be kills, is I'm regrets going in on his engages and on his ganks and not getting kills. He was getting summoner skills, but not kills. And by not getting kills, you're not turning that into gold that your team can use. And now that lane doesn't need you anymore, and you can focus on another lane. Instead, he was getting summoner spells and then never really went back to those lanes. ADC Mike, he was the man that beat Think You Can Dance in the top lane gank. I'm Regrets was right there, gets Mike off of there. On the bottom side of the map, I believe he missed one of the slingshots in between Vici and Isolated, forced a flash out of Isolated, but imagine what would have happened if he would have landed his skill shot there and possibly picked up a kill. Then that bottom lane is self-sufficient. You already have a winning matchup. Now they can go ahead and bully themselves. So Regrets needs to be more proficient with his ganks.
Yeah, and we did see a glimmer of that at one point. He did have that botch gank down bottom, but then not even a minute or two later, he did come back, and it was a successful 2 kills from North Georgia's duo lane. They were put in a favorable position, but like you said, it just ended up not working out enough. Even with those kills, there was still a bit of a slip up from the ADC of North Georgia in the end, and there was still a solo kill from the Ashe down bottom, and the pressure just never let up. Even with those big blunders in the mid lane from Vici, he was still just shoving this Vel'Koz around from GT5, and that, I feel like that is one lane in particular that I'm Regrets needs to be looking out for a bit more in this next game, because if Vici can get into a position similar enough to the one that he had last game, then he could be setting himself up to just completely pop off and push his team very thoroughly to victory when the time really comes.
Absolutely. So with that, we're going to close the chapter on game 1 between Clemson and University of North Georgia. We've got to go ahead and take a short break, but when we come back, we got to see if the team from Dahlonega, Georgia, that would be University of North Georgia, can come back against its counterpart in Clemson University, down 1-0 in the next matchup. We'll be right back with game 2 after this short break.
Only $14.99.
Don't miss the call. Download Band. Communication made easy.